ஒரு மாதிரி அசிங்கமாக இருக்குது. நம்ம தமிழில் பேசுகிறோமே, எல்லாம் இங்கிலீஷில் பேசுகிறாங்க, நம்ம மட்டும் தமிழ்லேயே இருக்கிறோமே. சரி, நம்ம படிக்க கட்டிக்கிறோம், இனிமேட்டு நம்ம இதுவும் முடிஞ்சிச்சு, நம்ம பசங்களாச்சும் இங்கிலீஷ் படித்து நல்லா இதுவாகணும்னு நினைப்பேன்.
இந்த மாதிரி வெளியே இதுலாம் கூட நம்ம தமிழில் பேசினா மரியாதை கிடையாது, இங்கிலீஷில் மட்டும்தான் இது பண்ண முடியும்.
போகும்போது இப்போ எல்லா கார்ப்பரேட்டில் இங்கிலீஷ் தானே கேட்குறாங்க. இங்கிலீஷ் பேசுவியா, இன்டர்வியூவில் என்ன பண்ணுறாங்க, 4 வார்த்தை இங்கிலீஷ் பேசு, அபவுட் யுவர் செல்ஃப் அப்படின்றாங்க. அபவுட் யுவர் செல்ஃப்னா என்ன தெரியும், எனக்கு ஒன்றும் தெரியாது, இப்படி தான் நிற்க முடியும்.
As much as the English language unites educated Indians from different regions and cultural backgrounds and connects them with the rest of the world, it excludes those who have not been part of this educational system, especially the most marginalized tribal communities and Dalits, who are considered to be the lowest social group in the Hindu caste system. The language has introduced another layer of social hierarchy into a society already struggling to break through caste and class divisions. Because of this problem, I was intrigued by a community-based after-school English program called Eureka Walk and Talk, implemented in Dalit and tribal villages in Tamil Nadu, a state in southern India, by a non-profit organization called Ed.D. The program sought to address the issue in a new and innovative manner in 1,000 villages by engaging the community in a collaborative learning process. I wanted to learn more about the program and its possible ramifications for the way education was conducted in rural India and its ramifications for the larger society. How has the program impacted the perspectives and experiences of different stakeholders, and what were the social consequences? So, I decided to investigate and set out on an exciting journey to southern India.
Percentage of people depending on agriculture.
60 to 70% of the rural population are engaged in agriculture-related activity, but work in that area is declining now. More and more work opportunities are being offered through the organized sector like hotel management and housekeeping. For someone to survive and live a decent life, English has become an important skill.
People are motivated to learn English because of the role it plays in their professional advancement and shaping their personal identity.
I have a snack cart on the highway. Many of my customers driving past on the highway are rich people who stop by at my shop because it looks clean. When they buy something, it is difficult to tell them how much it costs or to interact with them, since I only know Tamil and they only speak English. I have felt bad many times that I'm not able to converse well with my own customers.
It's a Korean company.
I work in a Korean company where everyone speaks in English, and I feel bad that I can't speak with them and that I'm not as educated as they are. I am an ordinary worker in the company, but I want my children to do better than that. I want them to work in managerial roles. My goal is to ensure that my children are well educated and get higher paying jobs.
English plays a huge role in how people see themselves and how others see them. Many of them are ashamed by their inability to read or speak in English.
Another kid around the same age as my son speaks English and mine doesn't. I feel bad, since everyone looks with awe at the child who speaks in English. The world thinks that those who speak English are educated and smart.
Many of the students in rural public schools are taught using the native language as the medium of instruction. However, English is the language of instruction in higher education. This leaves many students struggling to comprehend their coursework in college, and many times compels them to even change their field of study.
I wanted to become an engineer, but did not apply to an engineering college since I was told that English is important to learn engineering courses and also to attend interviews after I graduate. So I chose to enroll in a teacher training program, assuming it would be easier. In college, there were students from different states and also students educated in schools where English is the medium of instruction. All the classes were in English, and students who knew how to speak would always respond in class, and though I knew the answers, I felt shy and could never communicate. And it felt like I was not smart enough and passed exams only by memorizing with no real understanding of the content.
Though students learn English in public schools, the manner in which it is taught causes challenges and difficulties. For example, 6th grade expectation in public schools is to read texts such as this, and for children to speak English fluently, but they often experience difficulties.
These are tests.
Many of the students from rural public schools come from socioeconomically disadvantaged backgrounds and also from families and communities that are not English speaking. They lack safe spaces within and outside the classroom to practice their English skills. This causes them to fear the language and lose confidence in their own abilities.
This, the boy is shining. These are chairs. What?
Dialogue is not permitted in the classrooms in public schools. 90% of the Indian public schools follow what Paulo Freire referred to as the banking concept of education. The teacher lectures to the children in class with absolutely no dialogue or discussion.
In schools, whether it be public or private schools, the children are made to sit in rows as though they are in the military. The teacher teaches, and the students are expected to passively listen. They are not allowed to ask questions. Only the teacher asks questions in class. If a child does ask, they are scolded and told to ask after the teacher is done teaching. But by that time, the class has run out and the child never gets the question answered. Even songs and games are taught with no interaction. Songs are taught with students seated and arms crossed. Ironically, even for a song that goes, swing your arms.
In school, the teacher never actually taught us English properly. To tell you the truth, the teacher herself did not speak English that well. She would mark some important sections in the lessons and essays and ask us to memorize them. That's how we passed all our English exams. When I think of it now, it sounds funny, but at the same time, I feel really bad in the manner in which I learned.
Many of the children shared with us that
We have heard from children that the school teachers believe lower caste children are incapable of learning and are not smart. Our goal is equality in education and to empower the lowermost castes. Like Nelson Mandela rightly said, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world.
The last few years, we have been feeling that if we don't work with the children on English and make them confident in reading and speaking English, it becomes a big dividing factor between the children in cities and the children in villages. So even if they are very good at math, Tamil, or science, but can't speak English, they end up with a huge disadvantage and complex when they have to present their ideas to others.
if you bring changes in their confidence in
If you can bring changes in their confidence in English, the students would gain confidence in other subjects too. They would feel that if I can master English, I can definitely master other skills too.
Our focus was to find out what will make children who don't have an English background at home gain confidence in speaking English, and how to do this with the help of local village volunteers or tutors who are themselves not very confident in English.
Aid India introduced the Eureka Walk and Talk English program in rural Tamil Nadu in the year 2017. The program is run in after-school centers in villages and in 2 of their own schools as well.
One of the biggest purposes of the program was to break the fear of speaking in English and help children gain confidence, to make them feel that it's okay to make mistakes while speaking and it is okay to use a few Tamil words in their sentences. So we had to choose a goal where there was a guarantee of at least 80 to 85% success. So we started with a very limited goal that the children should learn a few simple words. We had to plan the words they would learn use sentences with controlled vocabulary, and ask and answer a certain number of questions. We started with words they already knew. For example, the word fan. In the village, everybody says fan, and no one knows the Tamil word for it. If you count the number of English words that children use in their regular speech and vocabulary, it is a huge number. Just that they don't know that they are English words. In fact, children categorized words they knew as Tamil words and the ones they did not know as English words. So we created a word list of familiar words. We wanted children to feel, I know these words already. I'm just learning to use them in a different format.
மெட்டீரியல் வந்துட்டு ஃபுல் அண்ட் ஃபுல் வந்துட்டு அவங்க லைஃபோட ஓரியன்டாகவே மோஸ்ட்லி
The words that children are learning are simple and based on their real-life context to make learning easy. Because starting off with unfamiliar higher-level words or focusing a lot on grammar would scare the children and make their learning difficult. We began with words like door, window, cupboard, carpenter, and mechanic, things they see around them in their daily lives.
Where have you seen that object in the picture?
In my aunt's house.
What do they store in that?
Water.
So do you say P for pot?
Yes, P for pot.
இப்போ இங்கிலீஷ்ல வந்து நிறைய ஃப்ரூட்ஸ்க்கெல்லாம் நேம் வந்து
Children learn names of many fruits and vegetables from their school textbooks that they have never seen before. Many of our children have not even seen a pineapple. They see pictures of cherries and other different fruits and learn their names, but have never seen or tasted them before. In the Eureka English program, they learn the names of fruits and vegetables they see in our villages, like guava, bitter gourd, custard apple, and such. The children have told us that they find learning those words easier since they can relate to them better.
We call this an ask and say poster that the children use to ask adults questions and practice their English conversational skills. For instance, in this question, where are you going? We had to choose places that they would be going to. So the pictures had to be familiar to both the children and adults, since the response had to be something that they have seen or know, or a word that they can ask people to explain. For example, we cannot have mall or even beach here because lots of our villages don't have a beach. But they would have a river somewhere close by, or there would be a market like this. Most of our market pictures had a shopping center kind of look, so we had to redraw and make it look like the market that they have seen in their villages.
சொல்லி கொடுக்கணும்னு நினைச்சா அவங்க சாப்பிட்ற பழங்கள் அவங்க வீட்டில் என்னென்ன காய்கறிகளை பயன்படுத்துறாங்க.
We teach them words that they use in their daily life, fruits and vegetables that they eat regularly, places around them. So when we discuss the details of each word and teach them the importance, the children become very engaged because they are now getting an in-depth understanding of things that they see and use in their daily life and appreciate what they have locally.
ஓகே, அதுக்குள்ளே என்ன இருக்குன்னு சொல்லிட்டு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இதெல்லாம் என்னென்னு தெரியுமா உங்களுக்கு?
We used illustrations and photographs to describe these words. Photographs helped because the pictures look similar to where they are from and the children in the pictures look similar to them. They are more comfortable talking about these pictures as it allows them to speak about something real. In this picture, we try to make them use all the constructs they have learned and not in any specific order, so they don't just memorize and repeat, but say something that describes the picture. The intention is, after they describe the picture, we get them to describe real life and finally move on to describing experiences of their own.
What color is the car?
One of the things we said was it is alright to use Tamil words while speaking in English. Substitute the object name. It's okay. It's okay to use a Tamil word, but make sure that you keep your sentence construct in English as far as possible.
The termல என்ன கவர்ந்த விஷயம் வந்து இந்த PicTalk.
I really like the PicTalk activity. Every single child, even those who are not very confident, always make an effort to speak and describe the object in the pictures without worrying about making mistakes.
Which color do you like? I like yellow very much.
Why songs? Kids love songs. Everybody knows that. And for them to speak 5 words together, songs seem to be the best way.
I like songs because it's fun, and the songs have some important words that I can learn.
எல்லாம் கேம் மெத்தட் தான் பாடல் அவங்களுக்கு பிடிச்ச ரைம்ஸ்
The Gameway method helps engage children. When I want to keep kids active in class, I also sing and dance with them. A song such as, "What is this? What is that? This is a cycle," is simple, but they learn so many things. The difference between this and that, they learn spellings and learn new words. Songs make it easy.
The children practice their conversational skills with peers. Each child gets an opportunity to read and speak the conversations taught in class. The children then practice their conversational skills with adults in the community. They note down the responses in a journal.
What is your mother's name? Mama peru. Mama peru.
My name is Amma peru.
We have something called the walk and talk component in the program, where the children go out into the village, and even if they have learned only 3 sentences until then, we encourage them to go and talk to their family and speak those sentences. The family also gets to know what is going on in the class. We wanted to make sure that English is not limited just to the classroom.
My name is Nilammal.
ஒரு நேராக தாத்தா கிட்டே போய் பேசு பாட்டினா பாட்டிக்கிட்டே போய் பேசு
We encourage them to talk to adults. They practice in the class and then go out in the village and talk to the elders. The routine things that they do in their daily life, like going to a shop, are included in their lessons. And they practice conversations based on these real life situations. They go to a shop, converse in English, and buy something. When they do these practical things, they gain self-confidence and can speak easily.
When children go and speak to adults, the first thing we ask them to do is to address the adult with a hi party or hi teacher. In our very first training, there was a lot of resistance to this since our field team felt that it was very disrespectful to address public school teachers or elders in the village in this way, and that children must greet them with a good evening or a good morning. We had to emphasize and convince them that it is not disrespect, but breaking the authority or the unnecessary divide between the teacher and the student. The first question we had to ask the field team to take to the village was, "Hi teacher, what's your name?" At the end of the conversation, if the adult answers in Tamil, we ask the children to teach the adult how to respond in English. The child teaching the adult is a very important part of the program because we believe that the child must feel that I am also teaching something. There is something of value in me, and I am teaching something to somebody who I thought I was not an equal with.
I like the walk and talk component of the program, going and talking to others, asking them questions, and teaching them how to respond in English. It really makes me feel very proud.
I am 50 years old. I am 20 years old. I am 20 years old. 20 years old. What is your father name? My father name is P. Munasami. What is your
எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும் அதனால நம்ம ஊர்லயே போய் பேசுறதுக்கு எனக்கு I like to go and talk to people in my own village.
Do the adults respond to you when you talk to them?
They answer in Tamil and we teach them how to answer in English.
Don't you feel afraid correcting them?
No, we just teach them how to say it correctly in English and they do.
If the adults do not respond in English or make a mistake, we teach them the correct response in English.
My son has become much smarter. He enjoys going to the center. Earlier, I used to teach him, but now he comes home from the center and teaches me. This makes me so happy and proud.
The children are very motivated to speak English. Even if a stranger comes to the center, they ask them all the questions they know and teach them responses if the adults don't know how to respond in English. Elders in the village do not know English, so when the kids teach them how to talk in English, they feel like they've accomplished something big in their life. They feel proud that they have taught the elders.
My favorite color is black.
If you look at the journal responses to the questions children ask adults in the community, it's heartwarming. I've seen entries such as, "I like biryani," to the question, "What is your favorite food?" Though they may never have seen or eaten biryani or fried rice in their whole life. Such aspirational things make it into the conversation and makes me feel very happy to see these aspirations building up.
It's hungry. It walks through the field. It sees some grapes.
The class ends with a story or a role play. Stories and role plays help children a lot in understanding what they're saying. Culturally, we've had our grandmothers and grandfathers telling us stories while growing up. Especially in villages, there are many tatas and patis, older people, who know a lot of stories, and so children are very used to listening to stories from a young age. We used the same stories and created picture cards. These are stories that they would have seen and heard in their childhood. Actually, more than the children, a lot of our volunteers really tried hard to narrate these stories in English that they have grown up listening to.
I like stories.
Who tells you stories at home?
My dad tells me stories at home.
I observed that the children are very engaged in the Eureka class. In contrast to what I saw in the schools, children in the centers and the Eureka schools were more enthusiastic when asked to narrate a story in their own words in English. They confidently mix the local language and English while narrating it. The children also shared that they are able to relate to the content since many of the stories were based on their local culture.
I like this story, Learn to Cycle. The story is about a girl like me in a village who learns to ride on the road. I feel confident that I can too.
டியூஷன் அப்படி கிடையாது.
Our center is the complete opposite of what happens in schools. You come here and play, you can hear stories, act in plays, sing songs. In our Tamil culture over the years, learning has been through stories, songs, proverbs, and street plays, and it is embedded in our genes. If a kid hears a song, he involuntarily dances to the tune. When he sees a street play, he stops and is mesmerized by it. The children don't see our Eureka Center as an after-school center. They come here as if they are coming to play, and without their own realization, they begin to learn and are fully engaged in learning.
I am Christy. In this role play, I am his mother. Hi, I am Rasanna.
The main thing we wanted to make sure was that the role plays don't intimidate the children. We didn't want children to feel that there are so many dialogues. How can I learn them? Especially because they are performing in front of an audience in a language alien to them. So, with role plays, we wanted them to feel that they can learn just one line, repeat it, and yet make a performance out of it. We had to almost follow a formula where one character asks the same question to other characters, and the other characters say the same response with just one or two words changed. So, this made it easier for them to memorize and speak confidently.
Across India, gender roles are often stereotyped, limiting the opportunities available to girls and women and also impacting their status. The role plays as part of the Eureka program are designed to counter these stereotypes and challenge these biases.
Pa, what are you doing? I am cooking. I am cooking. Can I help you?
We made a conscious effort to change and break the gender stereotype everywhere as far as possible. For example, an auto driver is a woman, a mechanic is a woman. Wherever males are usually used to depict a profession, we try to use females as far as possible.
Hi, Patty. Where are you going? I am going to the market. How are you going? I am going to walk to the market.
We also encouraged girl children to play boy characters and the boys to play the roles of girls in role plays. What I've observed is that when a girl says, "In this role play, I am a boy," everyone is okay with it. But when a boy says, I am a girl, everybody laughs. He feels shy to be a girl, but the girl is okay to be a boy. We wanted to break the gender bias and encourage boys to play female characters in the role plays.
Community engagement is an integral part of the program design, and the community is involved in the learning process in many different ways.
வேற என்ன சப்போர்ட்டிவ் அப்படின்னா சில இப்போ நாங்கள் டியூஷன் நடத்துறதுக்கு சில இடங்கள் தேடுவோம்.
The community has given us spaces to conduct the class if the tutor's house is small or if it's not feasible to conduct the classes there. They have opened up temples and common spaces for us, like the library or the school premises in the village.
Kids talk to adults from different households in the village. They get to know their own community. Also, they have now rediscovered their relationship and kinship. It's helpful for them to get a better feel about their own community.
My mother's name is.
The community is made up of parents and other relatives, and they appreciate that their children are learning to speak in English. We have communicated to them that since English is a foreign language, learning to speak requires practice and losing the fear of the language. It is important that the children practice their spoken skills with not just with one or two adults in the family, but with many more. So if they talk to adults in 100 households in the village, they will lose their fear of the language.
I wondered how the program impacted the community.
The general perspective is that to learn or speak English, you need to be smart. If we teach kids to read and speak in English, they will be seen as intelligent, and this will prevent the inequitable treatment meted out to them. Whether it is a tribal village or a lower caste Dalit village, if we succeed in getting all children to speak in English, the status of the village will rise. It will not be easy to oppress the community there anymore or treat them any differently based on their social backgrounds.
Earlier, there were so many caste boundaries, and people from different communities did not mingle. People from the lower castes were not allowed to enter the upper caste areas. But our program has been helpful in bridging this gap. Eureka classes have kids from diverse socioeconomic backgrounds. In the walk and talk component of the program, they go together to all sections in the community to interact with adults. The children also learn from each other and visit each other's household.
What kind of work do you do every day?
தமிழ்ல சொல்லுங்கம்மா.
நீங்க என்னென்ன மாதிரியான வேலையை தினமும் கணினில செய்வீங்க?
மஞ்சமாடி கூட வந்து ஊர்ல இருக்கிற பசங்கலாம் வந்து
We have centers now running in the low caste areas, and the higher caste children come to these classes. And this has helped to break caste barriers. Even in Manjampadi village here, the center is run in the lower caste Dalit area, but children from the other castes come here to learn. With the walk and talk component, children from different castes are able to move across boundaries and interact, causing the barriers to break.
Dalit children who thought English is an unachievable goal and not something they can aspire to have now have begun to feel confident enough to say, I can, because of the program. There is a young boy near my house, and when I ask him in Tamil, he does not respond. But if I ask him, do you want idli? He immediately responds. So I can see the change happening. And at different levels, I learned to speak. I trained my tutors, and together we are working with the children. I think this is a big victory for our team.
As I watched the children practice their English skills in the community and the community's response to them, I wondered how the Eureka program has influenced children's motivation and academic engagement.
The kids now come home and sit down and study on their own.
Do they go to the after-school Eureka Center on their own, or do you have to force them to?
No, they go on their own nowadays. They come home and then leave right away. It was only in the beginning we had to ask them to go. Not anymore.
திறமையும் இருக்குது அதோட
In our tribal village, many are not educated, and they do not know the impact of education and the opportunities it can bring. The Eureka program has opened up the doors of our thinking and shown us what is possible. The children have come to realize that education is important and that going to school regularly is also important.
I was not a very good student at school, and teachers used to scold me. My mom started sending me to the Eureka Center. Initially, I did not like it, but began loving it later. I love everything, playing with words, singing songs, everything.
I love our English class because the teacher sings along with us when she teaches us songs from the book. The teacher always translates every sentence in the lesson to Tamil so we can understand better.
I like coming to the Eureka Center because what we do is so much fun. It's boring in school. In school, it's all about lessons, but here we hear a lot of stories.
It has created a motivation for the children to want to perform better, not just in English, but in other subjects too. They want to do better in everything.
Many of the children in the Eureka after-school program are enrolled in the local public schools. I was curious to know what the public school teachers thought of the program.
Kids are happy. Isn't that what is important? They are very engaged and they understand if someone speaks in English. They want to participate in speech competitions and participate in plays. They have overcome their fear of English and now compete enthusiastically among themselves to speak in English. The students who are enrolled in the Eureka program bring their learning with them when they come to school, and that has been useful to us. Other students are also motivated to learn. They observe and learn from the kids. The children have the confidence now to say, "I can too."
One of the things that stood out was the different learning atmosphere at the Eureka schools and centers, especially when compared to the students' regular classroom in schools. The Eureka tutors and teachers who are local village volunteers have changed the traditional paradigm of student-teacher relationship. From the observation of the class, it was quite evident to me that the tutor and students shared a mutually respectful and trusting relationship based on authentic care.
When I was in Eureka school, I felt free. Here, I feel scared. I feel scared that they will beat me if I say something wrong. I feel afraid all the time, and it was not like that before in Eureka school. Here at school, the teachers talk in a way that it feels like they are yelling at us. In Eureka school, teachers were very caring and affectionate and spoke to us like parents.
In a typical school in India, the teacher has a very authoritative relationship with the child. It is difficult for us to break the fear from the child's point of view, that it's okay to ask the teacher what they don't know. It's really hard for us to have teachers pose the question, "Who did not understand this?" without a threatening tone, and for children to respond to it without fear. In most Indian schools, the children's strategy is to stay quiet and escape a beating or scolding because they are usually reprimanded for asking questions in class. It takes a lot of effort for us to make our teachers feel that children must learn in a free atmosphere and that they should not be scared of them. There is a difference between fear and respect. Culturally, we have learned that fearing someone means respecting them, especially so in case of a teacher. We have tried to break this fear by introducing certain types of activities. Songs, for example, are carried out with lots of actions, and the teacher is made to do some funny actions. The children and teacher laugh together at the antics. This really helps in building the teacher student relationship.
If you have to ask a question in class, do you ask the teacher right away?
No, I shudder. What if I ask something and the teacher beats me? Some of the teachers, when I ask questions, say that I'm dumb.
Do you feel the same way with the tutor in the Eureka Center?
No, it's like talking to my own sister, and I'm not afraid.
So if you make mistakes while speaking to the tutor, is that okay?
Yes, she corrects me and teaches me how to speak without mistakes.
We don't get any fear from the local
The children say they are not afraid of their tutor since the tutor is from their own community. They refer to her as the akka, or elder sister.
ஸ்கூல்லனா வந்து 60 மெம்பர்ஸ் 50 மெம்பர்ஸ் அது மாதிரி இருப்பாங்க.
In a public school, there are typically 60 students in a class, and so it is hard for the teachers to focus on individual kids. Here in the Eureka Center, we have fewer kids. Following a whole class activity, we form groups based on skill levels, and I pay individual attention to those kids that need more help. We don't have a teacher-student kind of relationship. We are like friends. They even tell me to come to their school and teach. They even share stories from their personal lives with me.
Do they ask questions in class?
Absolutely no fear at all. We are like friends, so they treat me like a peer.
They always smile and talk with us and have lots of fun. If we don't understand something, the teacher explains it again without any fuss. I think of the Eureka teachers as my parents.
ஸ்கூல்லனா டீச்சர் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் அந்த இது இருக்கும். இங்கே வந்து வீட்டில் வந்து அப்படி கிடையாது. வீட்டில்
In the schools, there is a teacher-student hierarchy, but here in the Eureka Center, it is more informal. Kids think of their tutors as akka, or elder sister. Since the tutors are from the same community, the children do not view them as an outsider. They fear their teacher in school, but not the tutor. They sit in circles with the tutor like you would in a family. The tutors share a very friendly relationship with the children. The reason we are able to make our classes fun is because we have no constraints. We have an open mind, and we are like a family here. The only thing we focus on is helping the child learn and to make sure we do not hurt any child's feelings. I want to share an incident with you. Last year, we were practicing English conversation in pairs. One of the kids, Yarani, did not have a partner, and so I told her that I would team up with her. At the practice, when I said, "Hi, Yarani," she immediately responded, "Hi, Paramala." I was really happy. She did not think twice about addressing me by my name. She could have said, "Hi, miss," or "Hi, teacher," but she chose to call me by my name. That's the kind of relationship we have with students. In schools, if a child fails, they blame the child, but here we pay individual attention to that kid and help him or her learn. We take special care, never discourage or isolate anyone. I never point out a child's weakness and reprimand him or her for not reading or speaking well. Doing that would only cause them to lose confidence and feel inferior to other children.
Majority of the tutors are young women who volunteer their time in the evenings to teach at the Eureka centers. The trainers who are paid are also young women who often take risks traveling after dark to help tutors in 5 to 10 villages. 2 questions kept intriguing me. Why are these women willing to volunteer 3 hours every day after a long day of work? And how has the program impacted their lives?
The women working in Aid India, all our teachers, all our tutors, do a lot of work inside and outside of their homes. But if you see how much decision making power they have in their families, it would be very little. In fact, even in terms of their own food and nutrition, they get a raw deal. We know a lot of women who cook food at home, but they don't get to eat the vegetables or the fruits and get only the rice that is left over. Even today, that is still the position of women in many households. Adults who speak English are given a lot of respect by their family and also in their local environment. Although it seems quite irrelevant, but just the fact that they speak English makes people listen to them a little bit more, even in their own families and their local communities. They are treated better decision makers just because of the fact that they can speak English.
In the villages, if women go out for work after dark, they are viewed differently and as people with lower morals. My work is only in the evenings, and I have to travel to many villages. Since I love the work, I decided not to pay attention to what people say. The challenges I face are only due to travel in the evenings. Many times, I would be the only one at the bus stop. In the buses, which are always crowded, men intentionally brush past you. But all this doesn't stop me from going for my visits to the villages, because there are 200 to 300 children whose future depends on me, and I don't want to fail them. I am the first woman in my family to come out to work, and I am sure I will be a role model to the other young girls. I am not the kind of girl who likes to speak in front of the camera like this. I am a very shy person. The fact that I am here today talking confidently is because my work has enabled me to do that. I see myself as a role model.
We don't recruit our tutors by their educational qualification. There is no prerequisite except that they are willing to learn, they like to work with children, and are willing to help others. These are the only qualifications that we look for while recruiting.
The tutors are mostly college students. They play multiple roles in a day. They are students during the day and tutors in the evening. When children have conflicts, they become mediators. And when the conflict passes on to the families, they become conflict managers at the community level. They play diverse roles, and that really impacts the way they handle issues in their own lives. The community also now gets to know about the young woman, her intelligence, her educational background, and her capabilities. They begin to respect her. School teachers who believe that rural children are incapable of learning and often say that they can only herd cattle now see this huge change in the kids and wonder how the child is doing better in school. And once they learn about the tutor from the kids, they go and talk to the tutor to understand what she's doing. This energizes the tutor, who feels proud that a school teacher or principal is actually seeking her out and talking to her.
I belong to the lower caste, so no one usually came to our house. But nowadays, parents come home even on weekends asking for my help. Earlier, no one even acknowledged me, but now they invite me into their house to eat with them. Also, 10 children who went to Tamil elementary schools, because of my advice, have now decided to change to English schools in 6th grade. I feel really proud that they respect me enough to take my advice.
The community gets to know about the tutor, learns about her skills, and respects her. Before, they would address her as that girl or Akka, but now they call her madam out of respect.
There have been instances where an educated girl marries into a family and moves to the village. No one in the village knows about her qualifications or academic background, since the villagers assume that the girl's educational qualifications are either the same or lower than her husband's. The family also does not correct the assumptions. In villages where some of these women have become our tutors, the community gets to know more about them, their academic background, and skills. And in some cases, the community has supported the tutors in negotiating with her family to get a job that better fits her academic background. My own confidence has increased. Trainings have built courage in me to speak in front of a large audience. Earlier, I would not even have spoken to you. When the school teacher walks into the village, they are never addressed as Tamil teacher or English teacher. As soon as we enter Mangapuram village, everyone exclaims, "The English teacher has come." The program has given us this status and it makes us proud.
பாஸ் பண்ணியிருந்தா ஒருவேளை என்னை படிக்க வச்சுருப்பாங்களோ என்னவோ தெரியல. ஃபெயில் ஆனதுக்கப்புறம் நீ படிக்கிறதுக்கு லாய்க்கு இல்லை, கல்யாணம் ஆனதுக்கப்புறமும் நான் படிக்கணும்னு ஒரு இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் இருந்துச்சு. ஆனால் படின்னு அவங்களும் சொல்லலை. 17 இயர்ஸ் ஃபோனில் தான் டச் பேக்கில் வரல அப்படின்னா மகேஸ்வரி ஏற்கனவே மகேஸ்வரியை விட நான் தான் அதுக்கு முன்னாடி போயிட்டுப்பேன். நான் அந்த டைம் பார்த்து பேரண்ட்ஸ் ஒருத்தவங்க ஃபோன் பண்ணி இந்த மாதிரி எங்கள் குழந்தைங்களுக்கு இந்த மாதிரி நீங்கள் இது பண்ணிக்கலாம்ல, எங்கள் குழந்தைங்க சேர்த்துக்குங்க உங்கள் யுரேக்காவில் அப்படின்னு அந்த ஃபோன் பண்ணி கேட்கல அப்படின்னா இன்றைக்கி நான் மணிமேகலாக இருந்திருக்க மாட்டேன். டிக்கெட் போட்டு நம்ம பாட்டுக்கு சிங்கப்பூருக்கே போயிட்டேன். போய் சண்டை போட்டு எவ்வளோ பணம் நீங்கள் சம்பாரிச்சாலும் பரவாயில்ல, அது எல்லாத்தையும் உங்கள் குடும்பத்துக்கே கொடுத்துங்க, நீங்கள் கோட்டாவில் இருக்குது, ப்ரெசிடெண்ட்டுக்கு உங்கள் ஒய்ஃபை வந்து நிற்க சொல்லுங்கள். என் பையன் பொண்ணு இப்போ என் பொண்ணு கூட சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கா, நான் சோசியல் சர்வீஸ் தாம்மா, உங்களை மாதிரி நானும் சோசியல் சர்வீஸ் தாம்மா பண்ணணும் அப்படின்னு தான் பிஎஸ்சி நர்சிங்கே பண்ணுறான்.
Though the Eureka program has been successful on a number of levels, they've faced many challenges in implementing their successful efforts across 1,000 villages in southern India.
It was challenging for our field team to implement the program in some difficult and remote areas. But to take the program where nobody speaks English is the main purpose. It was challenging to get everybody to see that as the primary purpose rather than just showcasing the best villages. So we had to re emphasize that it's okay to run the program in villages where the environment or the enrollment is not optimal. Some of these are villages which are so remote and backward that a program like this would have never happened there. For these villages, it is such a novel experience and it makes a huge difference to them.
Though public school teachers are qualified, they are not able to achieve outcomes as much as the Eureka tutors. And that makes them feel a little ashamed, and they feel that the children think that their teaching is poor. And they also get intimidated by the questions children ask based on what they learned at the Eureka Center. Some of the teachers even ask the kids to stop attending the Eureka Center, though they are aware it would benefit the children.
As part of our content methodology, we had to take in the constraint that the content will be delivered by adults who themselves don't know English. So we had to get the learning process of the adult and the child going together. That was one of the primary challenges in developing the content. Initially, the adults were very amused with the walk and talk component, but after about 2 academic quarters, they began to get a bit irritated with children coming in every day and interrupting them during their work or household chores. So, in the third quarter, we had to innovate and introduce games even for adults to make it interesting for them. We realized that they could not just be passive recipients.
I now talk to other English speaking boys from the neighboring private schools. I used to avoid talking to them earlier because I felt ashamed of not being able to answer their questions in English.
Earlier, the community knew me as Tamil Arasi, but now they recognize me as a teacher. I have gone up a step in the social ladder.
From poor Dalit villages, lower caste villages. Class 8, I used to bunk the class. Nowadays, like last 1 year, I'm not like getting afraid of speaking English. Whether you like it, whether wrong, right or wrong, I don't mind. But I used to talk in English. If you speak in English, they won't ask your caste, your background, anything. It will give a hierarchical position.